Most people think of cheese as something indulgent, maybe even a little guilty. Too fatty, too salty, too rich. But for those of us over 60, what if I told you that a few types of cheese might actually be among the most powerful allies in your fight against muscle loss? Yes, you heard that right. As someone who has spent over 3 decades helping older adults regain strength, I can tell you with full confidence, when chosen wisely, cheese is not a problem to be avoided. It can be a solution, and not just any solution. A daily, affordable, accessible strategy to fight sarcopenia, the slow, silent loss of muscle that creeps up on us as we age. Let me walk you through one of the most overlooked treasures in the dairy aisle: cottage cheese. Now I know what you might be thinking. Cottage cheese brings back memories of bland diet trends from decades past. It's soft, it's pale, it doesn't scream power. But here's what most people miss. Half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese gives you 14 grams of high-quality protein. That is protein your aging muscles can actually use. And it only costs you about 80 calories. But this is not just about how much protein. It's about what kind of protein. Cottage cheese contains over 1 gram of leucine per half cup. And leucine is essential. It is the spark plug, the switch that turns on muscle growth. As we age, our muscles become more resistant to growth signals. That's why older adults need more leucine in every meal just to get the same muscle-building response they used to get when they were younger. That same half cup of cottage cheese gets you nearly a third of the leucine you need in one meal to turn on that muscle-building switch. No pills, no powders, just real food. What I appreciate most about cottage cheese is how gentle it is. I've had patients who struggle with chewing. They've lost weight from reduced appetite. They can't handle steak or chicken anymore. But they can eat cottage cheese. It goes down easily. You can mix it with berries. Blend it into a smoothie. Stir it into oatmeal, or even use it in dips. Beyond convenience, the type of protein in cottage cheese matters deeply. It's called casein, a slow-release protein. That means after you eat it, your muscles receive a steady supply of amino acids for 6 to 8 hours. Imagine that, a natural time-release mechanism built into your food, protecting your muscles all day long. This is especially helpful before bedtime. While we sleep, our bodies break down muscle to fuel internal functions. But if you eat cottage cheese before bed, that slow-release protein helps hold on to your hard-earned strength overnight. There's data to back this up. One study looked at nearly 1,000 older adults and found that those who included cottage cheese daily experienced better muscle retention, especially during times when they weren't very active. The casein protein kept feeding the muscle even in rest. Now let's talk practical. Want to start tomorrow? At breakfast, stir half a cup of cottage cheese into a bowl with fresh blueberries and a drizzle of honey. If you prefer savory, mix it with chopped tomato, cucumber, and a sprinkle of dill. Use it in place of mayonnaise in tuna salad. Blend it into a fruit smoothie, and you won't even notice it's there. For the best results, I recommend 1 to 2 servings a day. Morning is especially important. After fasting all night, your body is craving protein. That first meal is your most powerful opportunity to switch from breaking down muscle to building it. So next time you walk past the dairy section, pause. That humble little tub of cottage cheese might just be the most underrated tool in your aging toolbox. Let me introduce you to a cheese that is often misunderstood. You might think of it as a topping, something you sprinkle, a finishing touch on pasta. But for anyone over 60, it deserves a spot on your plate for a far greater reason. I'm talking about Parmesan. Not the powdered stuff in plastic containers. I mean the real thing. Aged, authentic Parmesan. The kind that comes in a solid block, dotted with tiny crystals and wrapped in wax paper. The kind Italians call Parmigiano Reggiano. And it is a powerhouse. Just 1 ounce, roughly the size of your thumb, contains over 10 grams of complete protein. Think about that. In such a small piece, You get a protein boost many older adults struggle to get from larger meals. But the real magic of Parmesan comes from its age. You see, during the 24 months or more that Parmesan ages, something incredible happens. Natural enzymes go to work. They begin breaking down the proteins inside the cheese into smaller fragments. These fragments are easier to absorb, easier to digest. It's like the cheese has been gently pre-digested, ready to give your body what it needs with minimal effort. For many older adults, digestion isn't as smooth as it used to be. I've had patients who get bloated, uncomfortable, or even skip protein-rich foods because they just feel too heavy. Parmesan solves that problem. It's easy on the stomach. And here's another bonus: authentic Parmesan is virtually lactose-free. That means even people who are lactose intolerant can usually enjoy it without issue. Now let's talk about calcium. Parmesan isn't just helping you build muscle through protein. It's giving your muscles what they need to function properly: calcium. Every muscle contraction in your body, from picking up a bag of groceries to standing up from a chair, requires calcium. 1 ounce of Parmesan provides over 300 milligrams of it. That's about a quarter of what you need in an entire day. And here's something most people don't realize. When you don't get enough calcium, your muscles suffer. It's not just your bones that are at risk. Studies show that adults with low calcium intake lose muscle faster. So every time you eat Parmesan, you're supporting not only your strength, but your mobility and balance too. Some might say, but isn't Parmesan expensive? And it can be. But here's the truth. You don't need much. 1 or 2 ounces a day is more than enough. A block of real Parmesan might seem pricey, but it lasts. Because the flavor is so rich and concentrated, a small amount satisfies. The key is to buy it whole and grate it yourself. Freshly grated Parmesan has a depth of flavor that store-bought powders simply can't match. And because you'll be satisfied with less, it stretches further than you might expect. So how can you use it? Try grating Parmesan over scrambled eggs in the morning. That single step turns a simple breakfast into a protein-packed meal. At lunch, sprinkle it generously over a warm bowl of soup or a fresh salad. For dinner, melt it over steamed vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower, or use it to top a baked dish. You can even snack on small chunks of Parmesan, paired with fruit or a few almonds. It's deeply satisfying. And that salty, savory bite carries a sense of comfort and luxury, without being heavy or hard to digest. So, if you've been avoiding cheese out of habit or fear, it might be time to revisit this one. Parmesan doesn't just taste good. It works hard behind the scenes, delivering protein, calcium, and ease, all in one beautiful sliver. Now let me share with you a cheese that might seem humble, maybe even plain at first glance, but it carries a secret weapon hidden in its creamy folds. Ricotta, often thought of as a filler in lasagna, or something you spread on toast. Ricotta holds a unique position among all cheeses. It is made from whey, the liquid left behind after other cheeses are made. That might sound like a leftover, but in truth, it is this very origin that makes ricotta one of the fastest-acting muscle builders available to older adults. Here is why that matters. Most cheeses are built around casein, a slow-digesting protein. But ricotta is different. Because of its whey protein content, it delivers its amino acids quickly within 30 to 60 minutes. For someone over 60, this timing is crucial. Imagine you've just finished a slow walk around your neighborhood. Or maybe you spent 10 minutes tending your garden. Your muscles, having been lightly challenged, are now wide open, ready to receive nutrients. Ricotta meets them at that perfect moment. No delay, no digestion hurdles, just fast, efficient delivery. A half cup of whole milk ricotta provides about 14 grams of protein, similar to cottage cheese. But the profile of that protein is different. Ricotta is rich in what scientists call branched-chain amino acids. These unique amino acids can bypass your liver and head straight to your muscles. They begin repairing. they begin rebuilding. This is not just theory. One study looked at older adults who consumed about 3/4 of a cup of ricotta each day. After only 90 days, they didn't just gain muscle mass. They improved in balance, strength, and even how quickly they could get up from a chair. The results were especially striking in older men, whose strength surged after just 3 months of regular ricotta intake. But muscle is only part of the story. Whey protein, the type found in ricotta, has also been shown to support heart health. It can help lower blood pressure and improve cardiovascular markers. So while your muscles are rebuilding, your heart is getting a helping hand too. That dual action is rare and valuable. Now, let's talk about texture. Ricotta is smooth, soft, and mild. For many of my patients who struggle with chewing, swallowing, or even food fatigue, ricotta is a blessing. It feels like comfort food, but it works like a supplement. You can mix it into sweet or savory dishes. It blends easily. It doesn't overpower other flavors. And it's naturally lower in sodium, about 100 milligrams per half cup, far below many other cheeses. That's a real advantage for anyone watching their salt intake, especially for heart or blood pressure concerns. So, how do you use ricotta in your daily meals? In the morning, try spreading it on whole grain toast with a little honey and cinnamon. It's like cream cheese, but with real muscle-building power. At lunch, it can replace mayonnaise in sandwiches or be used as a base for dips. At dinner, you can stir it into pasta sauces to make them creamy without the guilt. Or stuff it into baked vegetables like zucchini or bell peppers. You can even use ricotta for dessert. Mix it with a bit of cocoa powder and honey, and you've got a healthy chocolate mousse. Blend it with frozen fruit for a smoothie that feeds your muscles without the need for protein powders. When buying ricotta, go for the whole milk version. Yes, it has more calories than part skim, but those extra calories come with more satisfaction and more muscle support. Check the label. Look for brands with simple ingredients, milk, vinegar or citric acid, and a little salt. And remember, timing is everything. Try to eat ricotta within 2 hours after any kind of activity, even light chores or stretching. That's when your muscles are most receptive. Feed them during that window, and you'll see better results. Ricotta is not flashy, but it is reliable. It's the kind of food that quietly supports you, day in and day out. And for aging muscles, that kind of quiet power is exactly what we need. Most people think building muscle is all about lifting weights or eating more meat. But for those of us past 60, one of the most overlooked factors is timing. Not just what you eat, but when you eat it. You see, after sleeping for 8 to 10 hours, your body enters a fasted state. During that time, it slowly breaks down muscle tissue to fuel your essential functions. That's why your first meal of the day is so critical. It's your opportunity to shift your body from muscle loss back to muscle growth. Yet most older adults only eat a small breakfast. Maybe toast, maybe a little fruit, coffee. But that adds up to less than 10 grams of protein, not even close to what your body needs to rebuild. The research is very clear. If you want to protect your muscles, you need 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast. Not once a week. Every day, and this is where our cheeses come in. Half a cup of cottage cheese with fresh berries gives you 14 grams. Add a grated ounce of Parmesan, and you've got 24 grams right there. That's enough to flip the muscle-building switch on in your body. But it doesn't stop at breakfast. Most older adults follow what I call the light-heavy pattern. Small breakfast, small lunch, and a heavy dinner. That's a problem. Your muscles can only use about 30 grams of protein at one time. If you eat 60 grams of protein at dinner, your body simply cannot store the extra. It's like trying to water a dry plant with a fire hose. Most of it spills out. The better way, water that plant gently and often. Same with protein. Spread it out. Aim for balanced protein intake across all 3 meals. cottage cheese at breakfast, ricotta in your lunch sandwich, Parmesan over dinner vegetables. This even flow keeps your muscles nourished all day long. Consistency, not quantity, is what your body needs now. Let's talk about one of the most powerful but often ignored opportunities to build muscle right after you move. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to break a sweat. Just a short walk. A few minutes of gardening. Some gentle stretches. Even standing up and sitting down from a chair 10 times. These simple movements wake your muscles up. They shift your body into a state where it's eager for repair. And that's when protein becomes truly powerful. Here's the secret. Within 2 hours after any form of physical activity, your muscles become more sensitive. They act like dry sponges, ready to soak up the amino acids you feed them. If you give your body the right kind of protein during this window, especially fast-absorbing ones like those in ricotta, it goes straight to work rebuilding muscle fibers. One of my favorite combinations for this moment is a small bowl of ricotta with berries. It's easy to eat, light on the stomach, and filled with exactly the kind of fuel your muscles crave after movement. Cottage cheese works too, especially if you pair it with a little fruit or blend it into a smoothie. For some, it might be a slice of whole grain toast with ricotta and a drizzle of honey. For others, a small snack of Parmesan and apple slices. The goal isn't a full meal, it's a smart refueling moment. These habits matter more than you think. Research shows that protein consumed after physical activity creates a much stronger muscle response than the same protein eaten while you're sedentary. It's about timing and readiness. The takeaway is simple. Move your body, even just a little, then reward it with protein. Make this part of your routine, and you'll start to feel stronger, steadier, and more capable with each passing week. One of the most common questions I hear is simple. How much cheese should I be eating each day to really make a difference? Let's get practical. First, we need to understand your overall protein needs. For older adults, the standard recommendation is 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. That may sound technical, but here's an easy way to figure it out. Take your weight in pounds and divide by 2.2. That gives you your weight in kilograms. Then multiply that number by 1.2. For example, if you weigh 150 pounds, that's about 68 kilograms. Multiply that by 1.2, and you need about 82 grams of protein each day. That's your goal. But you don't have to get all of it from cheese. In fact, I don't recommend that. Balance is still important. However, cheese can easily give you a third to a half of your daily protein in a convenient, enjoyable way, especially when meat feels too heavy or your appetite is low. So what does that look like? Start your day with half a cup of cottage cheese. That's 14 grams of protein. At lunch, sprinkle 1 ounce of grated Parmesan over your soup or salad. That's another 10. For dinner, add a third of a cup of ricotta to your vegetables or pasta. You're now at about 35 grams of high-quality protein just from cheese. The total calorie load? Around 300 to 400 calories. Very manageable. The key is consistency. These benefits don't show up overnight. The most compelling studies saw changes when people ate these cheeses every day for 60 to 90 days. Not once a week. Not now and then. Every single day. Think of cheese like a muscle vitamin. Something small you do every day that adds up to big results over time. By now, we've talked about what to eat, how much, and when. But there's another piece of the puzzle that can turn steady gains into real transformation. That piece is movement specifically. Resistance training. Now, before you imagine heavy weights and gym machines, let me reassure you. Resistance training for people over 60 doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to join a gym. You don't even need special equipment. You already have everything you need. It can be as simple as standing up and sitting down from a chair, doing push-ups against the wall, holding light weights or even water bottles, and lifting them gently. Stretching a resistance band across your thighs or arms. These movements may look easy, but inside your body, they spark a cascade of muscle-building responses. Now, combine that movement with cheese. The studies are clear. When you perform resistance activity and follow it with high-quality protein like cottage cheese, ricotta, or Parmesan, your muscles respond more strongly than with either one alone. It's called a synergistic effect. In plain terms, 1 + 1 becomes 3. In fact, researchers have found that this simple combination can recreate what they call a youthful muscle response, even in people in their 70s or 80s. The muscle tissue starts to behave more like it did decades earlier, absorbing nutrients, growing stronger, and staying more active. This is not fantasy. This is documented science. The beauty of this approach is that it's forgiving. You don't have to train every day. 2 to 3 short sessions per week, 10 to 15 minutes each, is enough to maintain or even improve muscle mass, especially when paired with consistent protein intake. On the days you don't formally exercise, your cheese servings still help. They keep your muscles fed, maintaining the gains you've already made. And remember, everyday life is full of opportunities for resistance. Carrying groceries, climbing stairs, digging in the garden. These are not just chores, they're low-level training moments. When you pair them with a serving of ricotta afterward, or a sprinkle of Parmesan at lunch, you're turning daily tasks into strength-building rituals. You don't need to train like an athlete. You just need to move with intention, and then nourish those movements with the right food. So next time you stand from your favorite chair, think of it as a squat. When you lift a gallon of milk, think of it as a curl. And when you eat that spoonful of cottage cheese afterward, know that you've done more than eat, you've invested in your independence. The combination of resistance and nutrition is the closest thing we have to turning back the clock. It's never too late to start. And with just a few mindful choices each week, you may surprise yourself with what your body can still do. While cheese can be a powerful tool for preserving muscle and independence, it's important to recognize that not everybody responds the same way. Especially as we get older, we carry different health histories, medications, and sensitivities. That means we need to be thoughtful. Let's begin with lactose intolerance. Many adults develop this as they age. It can cause bloating, cramping, or discomfort after eating dairy. The good news? The cheeses we've discussed, cottage, ricotta, and Parmesan, are all relatively low in lactose. Parmesan, in particular, is nearly lactose-free after aging for 2 years. Most people who struggle with milk can enjoy it without issue. Ricotta and cottage cheese contain a bit more lactose, but usually much less than a glass of milk. If you're unsure, start small. Pay attention to how your body feels. You can also try lactase enzyme tablets, which help digest dairy. Next, let's talk sodium. If you're managing high blood pressure or heart disease, you've probably been told to watch your salt intake. Cheese can be a source of sodium, but not all cheeses are equal. Parmesan, because it's aged, is naturally higher in sodium. Cottage cheese varies widely. Some brands have over 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, while others have less than 100. Ricotta is generally lower in salt. Here's what I recommend. Read labels. Choose low-sodium options when available. And remember, balance matters. If you're eating cheese, make sure the rest of your meal includes fresh vegetables, whole grains, or potassium-rich foods to help offset the sodium. Moderation and awareness go a long way. What about cholesterol? For years, cheese was thought to be a problem for heart health. But newer research paints a different picture. Large-scale studies have shown that cheese, eaten in reasonable portions, does not significantly raise heart disease risk for most people. It's not about avoiding cheese. It's about avoiding excess. If you're concerned about saturated fat, you can choose lower-fat options. Part skim ricotta, low-fat cottage cheese, Even a smaller serving of full-fat Parmesan can be part of a heart-smart plan if the rest of your diet is balanced. Now, let's talk medications. If you take blood thinners like warfarin, be aware that cheese contains small amounts of vitamin K. This vitamin can affect how your medication works. But the solution is not to avoid cheese. It's to stay consistent. Eat roughly the same amount each day and let your doctor know. That way, your medication dosage can be adjusted if needed. Finally, a note on kidney health. If you've been told you have reduced kidney function or early-stage kidney disease, protein intake needs to be monitored more closely. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering protein byproducts, and too much can be stressful for them. In these cases, always consult your physician before increasing your protein intake from cheese or any other source. The bottom line is this: cheese can be incredibly beneficial, but like any food, it must be used with awareness. Start slowly. Observe how your body reacts. Read your labels, and always speak with your healthcare provider if you have concerns. Food is powerful, but so is wisdom. When you pair both, you get results that last. Now that you understand the science, let's put it into practice. Knowledge means little unless it becomes part of your daily rhythm. So, let me walk you through a simple way to include cottage cheese, Parmesan, and ricotta into your meals without stress or confusion. Let's begin in the morning. Within an hour of waking, your body is primed for protein. You've been fasting overnight, and your muscles are ready to switch from breakdown to growth. That makes breakfast the most important meal of the day, not in terms of size, but in terms of impact. Start with half a cup to a full cup of cottage cheese. You can enjoy it cold, right from the container. Add some fresh berries and a drizzle of honey for a touch of sweetness. Or, if you prefer something savory, mix it with diced tomato, cucumber, and fresh herbs like dill or parsley. If cottage cheese isn't your favorite texture, try ricotta instead. Spread it on whole grain toast with cinnamon and a little bit of fruit preserves. It's creamy, mild, and deeply satisfying. Either way, your breakfast should include 25 to 30 grams of protein, and these cheeses help get you there without much effort. Now, let's move to lunch. This is your second big opportunity to feed your muscles. Sprinkle a generous ounce of freshly grated Parmesan over a warm soup or hearty salad. That gives you over 10 grams of high-quality protein plus calcium. If you want to keep lunch light, add a scoop of ricotta as a spread in a sandwich or mix it with herbs for a protein-rich dip with fresh vegetables. By the time you've finished lunch, you've given your muscles a steady supply of amino acids across the first half of your day. At dinner? Let's be strategic. If your main dish already contains meat or fish, just add a smaller portion of cheese to complement it. Maybe some Parmesan over steamed green beans or cauliflower. If you're having pasta or a vegetarian meal, use ricotta to make your sauce creamy and filling. Add it to casseroles. Mix it into mashed potatoes. Let it enrich your vegetables. It's not about making cheese the center of every meal. It's about using it wisely. And don't forget your snacks. Sometimes the most important protein you eat comes between meals. Keep cottage cheese or ricotta in single-serve containers in your fridge. Grate some Parmesan into a small container and pair it with a piece of fruit or a few almonds. After light activity, walking, cleaning, stretching, a small protein-rich snack can help lock in muscle support. Think of these snacks as part of your recovery plan. And always remember, variety keeps things sustainable. You don't have to eat the same thing every day. Mix it up. Try different herbs, toppings, and pairings. Make your meals enjoyable and easy. That way, you'll stick with it. Not just for a week, but for months and beyond. This isn't a diet. It's a lifestyle shift. With 3 simple cheeses and a little planning, you can reshape how your body ages. You can keep your strength. You can stay steady. You can live on your own terms. Building muscle after 60 doesn't require a gym membership or heavy lifting. In fact, Some of the most effective strength-building routines are the ones you can do in your living room. No equipment, no fuss, just consistency and intention. Let me walk you through a short daily movement routine. It will take about 10 minutes. No sweat, no pain, just gentle activation. Start with the chair stand. Sit in a sturdy chair. Cross your arms over your chest or place them on your thighs. Now stand up slowly. Then sit back down, controlled and steady. Do this 10 times. This is a full lower body workout disguised as a simple move. Your thighs, hips, and core all come alive. Next, let's use the wall. Stand facing a wall at arm's length. Place your palms on the wall and do 10 push-ups. Bend your elbows, lower your chest toward the wall, then press back. This works your arms, shoulders, and chest all without strain. Now, pick up a couple of water bottles or light hand weights. Hold them in your hands with your arms at your sides. Slowly lift your arms straight out in front of you. Hold for a breath, then lower. Repeat 10 times, then lift them to the side. Another 10. This helps maintain shoulder strength and posture, two things many older adults struggle with as time goes on. After that, gently stretch your legs. Stand behind a chair, hold the backrest, and do 10 slow leg lifts, 5 each leg. Then raise your heels and balance on your toes. This strengthens the calves and improves balance. This entire sequence can be done in under 15 minutes. It activates nearly every major muscle group. No strain, no special gear. Just you, your body, and a little time. Now here's the important part. Once you've moved, once your muscles are active and engaged, you've created a perfect window for protein. That's the time to refuel with one of our cheeses. Maybe it's a small bowl of cottage cheese with pineapple chunks. Maybe a scoop of ricotta on toast with a bit of cinnamon. Or a few slices of apple with grated Parmesan. This post-movement snack isn't just about calories. It's about opportunity. Your muscles are open, like a sponge waiting to soak up the amino acids you provide. This is when you can rebuild, restore, and even gain new strength over time. If you make this a habit, move gently, then feed wisely, you'll begin to notice changes. You'll stand up with less effort, climb stairs without holding the railing, lift groceries without thinking twice. This is not about transformation overnight. It's about quiet progress, subtle improvements that, day by day, rebuild the foundation of your independence. 10 minutes of movement. One smart snack. That's your new routine. It's doable, it's proven, and it works. Building strength at this stage of life is not about chasing a number on the scale or seeing bulging muscles. It's about function. It's about feeling more stable on your feet, more confident walking across a parking lot, more comfortable carrying a basket of laundry, or stepping into the shower without holding on for dear life. But here's something many people forget. You need to track progress to stay motivated. One of the simplest ways to do that is with a small journal. Nothing fancy. Just a notebook where you jot down what you ate, what movements you did, and how you felt afterward. Were you more alert? Did the stairs seem easier? Were your legs less shaky? Start with 2 weeks. Each evening, write a sentence or two. For example, had ricotta toast for breakfast. Did chair stands before lunch. Felt more energized doing chores today. After 2 weeks, patterns will begin to emerge. Maybe your mornings feel smoother. Maybe your balance has improved. Maybe you're not as sore as you used to be after simple tasks. Then keep going. Mark your calendar for 30 days and again at 90. At the 30-day point, many people notice their energy levels are better. Their digestion is smoother. They feel a bit more alive in their bodies. Tasks like cooking, cleaning, or even bending down to tie shoes start to feel less like obstacles and more like routines. By the 90-day mark, the effects compound. Muscle strength becomes visible not in a mirror necessarily, but in motion. You might notice your ability to stand from low chairs without pushing off, or your ease when getting out of bed in the morning. Some even report better sleep and fewer aches. But this only works if you're consistent. You can't expect magic from eating cheese once or twice a week. Nor can you expect to gain strength without asking your muscles to move, even just a little. Think of this as a quiet agreement between your food, your body, and your daily habits. Feed your muscles regularly, challenge them gently, and pay attention when they respond. The progress may be slow at first, but it's real, it's meaningful, and over time, it builds into something powerful, a renewed sense of control over your aging body. So don't leave it to chance. Use that journal. Check in with yourself. Celebrate small wins. They are not small. They are the foundation of your independence. You've come this far. You now understand the why, the how, and the when of using cheese to rebuild strength, preserve muscle, and stay independent longer than most people ever imagine. But understanding alone isn't enough. It's time to act. Let's take this from concept to reality starting today. Go to your grocery store and pick up 3 things: cottage cheese, ricotta, authentic Parmesan. Choose enough for a week. Look at labels. Choose whole milk versions when possible. Avoid processed or pre-grated options. These small choices matter more than you think. When you get home, clear space in your fridge. Put these cheeses at eye level. That's where your future begins, right where you can see it every morning. Next, take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write down your protein goal for the day. If you weigh 150 pounds, your target is about 80 grams. Break it down across 3 meals. Plan where your cheese fits in. Maybe it's cottage cheese with breakfast fruit, Parmesan on your lunchtime soup, ricotta in your evening pasta or vegetables. That alone can give you over 1/3 of what your body needs. Then, schedule your movement. Not exercise, just movement. Write it in the same place where you tracked your protein. 10 minutes of chair stands and wall push-ups. 15-minute walk around the block. Keep it simple. Keep it doable. Just make sure it happens. And finally, mark your calendar. 90 days from today. Circle it. That's your checkpoint. Not to weigh yourself or count reps, but to reflect. How do you feel? What's easier now? What has changed? Because change will happen. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's huge, but your body will respond. Slowly at first, then noticeably, then powerfully. That is the rhythm of aging in reverse. It begins when you believe it's possible and act on that belief every single day. And remember this, it's not just about muscles. It's about walking without fear. It's about lifting your grandchild without strain, cooking without exhaustion, climbing stairs without holding the railing, feeling like yourself again. It's about confidence. The cheeses in your fridge are more than food. They are fuel. They are tools. They are reminders that your health is not behind you, it is still unfolding. So I ask you, will you make that breakfast tomorrow? Will you add that Parmesan to your lunch? Will you move your body today and then feed it with care? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Your strength is not gone. It is waiting, quiet, patient, ready to rise again with every bite, every step, every small act of consistency. The path to a stronger, more independent future is simple. Eat with intention. Move with purpose. Track your progress. And never stop believing in what your body can still become.